Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at Avaya Workplace Attendant. So we're going to be installing the attendant software on a machine, and we're also going to be installing the snap-in for Breeze. So for those of you that don't already know, the Avaya Workplace Attendant is a snap-in that runs in Breeze. So what we need to do is we need to have a working Breeze server. If you want to know how to install Breeze, go and check out one of my previous videos I released, which explains how to install Breeze. We need to install Breeze, and we need to install the snap-in for the Avaya Workplace Attendant, and then we need to configure some stuff up for that snap-in. We need to do some configuration on our media server, and we need to set some other stuff up in System Manager as well. And I'm going to cover all of that in this video. But first of all, like we always do, we're going to head over to the Avaya support site, and we are going to install the Avaya Workplace Attendant software. So we'll put Avaya Workplace Attendant in here. I'm going to go with the latest version, which is 5.4. So we'll download that. And there's two things we're going to need. We're going to a Workplace Attendant 5.4.2 Service Pack 2 that will go in here. What we're going to want to do is we want to download the Avaya Workplace Attendant client. So this is the client that's going to be installed on your machine. That's going to be running the console software. And then what we need is we'll need this down here as well, this SVAR file. So we need to download those two. Now I've already downloaded those, and I've been playing around with them already. So some of our configuration is already done, but what we'll do is we'll run over that configuration and explain why it's needed. So if we head over to System Manager, we'll see that my attendance software is actually uninstalling, and I'm going to remove it, and we're going to start from scratch. So basically, I'm just going to undo all of the work that I did earlier on, and we'll go from there. So at the moment, let's have a look. We should have the attendant that's disappeared. So all of these snap-ins are pretty much what comes default with Breeze. You don't really want to delete any of these, because some of these are going to be needed, like the call event control, the event and connector. The only two that I've added in are from a previous video, present services and the PS connector. The PS connector isn't necessarily needed, but if you are using IX Workplace Attendant or Avaya Workplace Attendant, whichever it's being referred to at the moment, then the present service connector may be something that you might find interesting, because I'm not really going to cover too much about this, and I might do it in a separate video. But basically, if you're using H323 devices, the present service connector will then get the present status of those devices via the application enablement services. So it's in there, we can use it, but I'm not going to go into too much detail about this. As I said, I might um, do another video on that, but for the time being, it's purely going to be installing the IX Workplace Attendant software, which I've already installed. I'm not actually going to go into too much detail about that, because it's not really anything to discuss. Here's the software here. We'll configure it up, but it's mainly going to be around the Avaya Workplace snap-in for Breeze. So what we'll do is we've logged into System Manager. We are going to load our snap-in. So if you go into Elements, Breeze, and then Service Management, which is here, Services, what we'll do is we'll load in that snap-in now. And I'm going to load it from my PC, and it's this one here. Where is it? This one, Workplace Attendant snap-in 541083808. So we're going to load that one in. Click on Load, and then we'll just accept this license agreement here. You can, if you want, read through all of that, but I'm not going to bother doing that at all. So we'll just accept that. Then what will happen is that will load in. Whilst it's loading in, which is done, we'll need to then go and install it. So we'll click on install. So we'll just install that. So whilst that's installing, what we want to do is we'll head over to server administration. We'll just check that's all okay. Yep, the service is installing. We'll go to cluster administration. Now, one thing we need to do is you'll need to put this in deny of service mode to change this. But what we'll do is we'll just click on that and edit. But you'll see in here we have a Viaura media server, user ID for RESTful, TLS authentication and the password. We need to set this. So we need to go over to our element manager or our media server that we're using for Breeze. Before actually I go into detail about that, if you go to elements and you go to media server and then go to application assignment, we need to have a media server that we can assign to Breeze. Now my media server was assigned to communication manager, which is fine. It will still work on communication manager, but my announcements and stuff like that for my content store won't work. So for the time being, I've just borrowed it temporarily and I've assigned it to my Avaya Breeze server. But really, I would recommend having a dedicated media server for your workplace attendant if you're using it for announcements for the workplace attendant. You don't have to use it, but I would recommend having a dedicated media server for your Breeze server. So just to assign that, you click on edit. You can assign it or unassign it and assign it to something else. Once it's assigned, you can't then go and assign it twice. So that's one thing to keep in mind. We need to do that. If we go back to the Breeze page that I was explaining about this this RESTful username and password, you go to the element manager for your media server, and we go to signaling protocols, and we go to REST. What we need to do is we'll just need to set the authentication username and password in here, save it, and then on this section here under the cluster attributes, we'll just need to put those details in there as well. There shouldn't be anything else we need to change in here, to be honest. That's all fine. And then the other thing we need to do, which I've done already, is we need to have a SIP entity link set up from our media server. So our media server needs to be added in as a SIP entity, which I already have here anyway. So where is it? Media server 1. And if we click on it, you'll see that we have session manager 1, session manager 2 to the media server, 5061 for the source port and 5061 for destination port, and that is it. And then obviously I've given it the time zone and the lab. The type is media server, and you can use the FQDN or the IP address. FQDN would be a preferred method, obviously, for TLS, but in this case, it's absolutely fine. So I don't need to do anything with that. I've got my entity link set up. Then what we need to do is we need to have a routing policy. So we need to set up a routing policy for our media server. So as you can see, I've got media server in here. That's set up as a routing policy. And then if we go to regular expressions, once the routing policy is added in, we just need to add this ce-msl.star, and then the destination or the routing policy that's assigned to it is media server 1. So that's all set up. Let's go back and check our Breeze services to make sure that these are configured. And this is installing. It's still installing. There's a few more bits we need to do. So if we go to Avaya or a media server, we can add this in here. And then we'll just do transport equals TLS. So we need to add that c.-msml at our domain, and then semicolon transport equals, and then whichever transport you're using. It's not actually required, but I always add it in anyway, just in case it's needed. So we'll just commit that. And then the other thing we need to do as well is, if we go to our media server here under System Tools, you'll see that our media server is connected because it gets that from the RESTful username and password that we specified here. So that's all done there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, I've got some numbers I've added in my dial plan, which are 8887 and 8886. So if we go to dial patterns and we just have a look, you see I've got these here. And what I've done is these are going to be the numbers I'm using for my topics. For those of you that are unfamiliar with Avaya Workplace, not Avaya Workplace, sorry, Avaya Workplace Attendant, it uses topics, and basically let's refer to them as receptionists or operators. They all subscribe to those topics. They can subscribe to multiple topics at once, but a topic is kind of like a skill in the call center world. They subscribe to it and then they receive calls for that. A bit like you would with Call Center Elite. You would log into a hunt group or a skill, and it's kind of the same thing. So I'm going to be sending these two numbers to the Breeze platform. So I basically added in 88886, and I'm telling it to go to Breeze because I have a routing policy for Breeze, and I also have 8887. If we head over to CM and we log in, if I display the AAR analysis, you'll see that I have 8887 and 8886 using root pattern 3, which is my feature trunk, and it's lev 0 private. So if we just do change root pattern 3, you'll see that this is my feature trunk. In fact, actually, that's wrong. That shouldn't be root pattern 3. Let me just do list root pattern. We'll try and work out which ones we have. It should actually be root pattern 1. So if we just do change AR A0, we'll just change these to be root pattern 1. I don't know why it's in as 3. It was obviously a mistake on my part. And if we do change root pattern 1, you'll see that that is going to session manager on the feature trunk. Now I'll show you my dial plan analysis really quickly, or sorry, my dial plan parameters. Change dial plan parameters. You'll see that it's using the UDP table first. So what that will do is it will look at the uniform dial plan table before looking at the local extension table within Communication Manager. And basically, if we go and have a look at the uniform dial plan, change uni 0, then you'll see that I have 886 and 887, or 8886 and 8887 in here, and it's telling it to use AAR. So what that'll do is when I dial 8886 or 8887, it will then send it to Session Manager using the AAR table with root pattern 1. So that's what I've done there. I'm just going to do a save transall because I don't believe I've done that since I made those changes. If we head back over to System Manager, what we'll do is we will just check that service is installed now. It should have done, and it has installed. So we're in a good position now. We can start configuring some stuff up. So what we need to do is we need to create ourselves a service profile. And the reason we need to create a service profile is we need to have an administrative user that can log into the workplace attendant and set some parameters up, create topics and all sorts of things like that. So service profiles, you can see there's one in here called workplace attendant. I created this earlier on. You just come in here, click on new workplace attendant or whichever you want it to be called, and that's it. If you click on here, you'll see that there's nothing in it. We need to make sure that we've got our attendant in there. So that's in there. So that's our attendant service is being added to the service profile. And we don't need to worry about anything in there either. So we'll click on commit to that. We go back in there, we just want to check. Yep, that's still in there. So what we'll do now is we need to configure our service up. So if we go to attributes, service profile, we'll just check what's in here. Attendant. Yep, that's all fine. We don't need to worry about anything else. The presence mode is 2, which is dynamic. Address of call, park on the cluster. Don't need to worry about that. Disable SIP managed transfer. That's true. Transfer from CM should be set to no. So what we'll do is we'll set that to false. And then we'll just go back in there as well and just double check some other stuff. Enable servlet interface. I'm going to set that to true because we want to have that. Don't need to worry about anything else as far as I'm aware. Initial and presence administrator can stay as admin, so that's cool. We'll just confirm that. And what we want to do is we want to go to service clusters, and in here we'll go to our Breeze cluster, go to our attendant snap in, and this is where we want to configure some stuff up. So I've got a user I'm going to be using, and I want them to be the administrator. So if I go to manage users, I'm going to use Sharon Watts as my administrative user for this. So I'm going to go back over here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to tick that, and I'm going to put 2000 in there, which is her extension number. Servlet interface I'm going to set as true, and also the managed transfer I'm going to set to false as well. And I don't think there's anything else I need to change in here. Presence mode is fine. I don't need to do service description, so I can happily just commit that. And then what we'll do is we'll go to Sharon, and we'll just need to edit her and give her a Breeze profile. So we need to tick that, and then they'll ask us which service profile we want, and it will be workplace attendant. So we'll click on commit. And that's done. So what we should be able to do now we have our snapping configured and all of the attributes and everything configured, we should be able to log in. But first of all, what we need to do is we need to set up an account. So the account is going to be 2000 because that's who I'm going to be logging in with. And then the services I'm going to configure manually. So it's asking me for my session manager IP address, which is 10.2.1.20. And then my SIP domain is just voice.voipworld.co.uk. 5061 because I'm using TLS, and then my Breeze SM100 address needs to go in here, which is 10.2.1.126. And there's some other stuff in here as well that we can use around survivability, but we don't have a secondary Breeze server. Although I do have a secondary session manager, I'm not going to worry about putting that in for the time being, and all of that sort of stuff. We don't have a branch Breeze address, and we don't have a secondary Breeze, so we can leave all of this stuff as default. And what we can do is we can just make sure that there's nothing else we need to worry about in here. Change that to 2000 again, and we'll click on done. So what we can do now is we should be able to sign in with 2000 and the password. We'll click on sign in, and we're now signed into the attendant. And what it will do is it will tell me that I'm not subscribed to a topic, and the reason why that is because I don't have a topic created. And by default, I'm actually set as busy. So even if I was subscribed to a topic, I wouldn't be actually be able to take any calls because I'd be set to busy. So the way we create a topic is quite easy. And like I said earlier on, a topic it's kind of like a skill in the call center world. So what we'll do is we'll go to services, sorry, where is it? Advanced and topics, and we'll add a topic. And we're just going to call this one reception. So reception, I'll type that again because I want a capital R on that. Reception. And the number is going to be 8887. Display name will just be reception. Call distribution, we can have longest idle. Announcement group, have one at the moment, so we won't worry about that for the minute. And then topic priority, you can set them sort of things in here. Queue lengths, queue timers. So what we'll do is we'll just add that. We'll go back to services as well. You can also add attendant users, so we can add an attendant user. So we could say extension, let's have a look, 2001. In fact, let's go back to system manager and let's take a look at this. So 2100 is a user, we could use that one. So 2100, we could say that's going to be an operator. Wrap up time 15 seconds, that's fine. Maximum call history entries, 100 is default. Number of VIP entries is 20. Location, we could change all that sort of stuff. Topic subscription, we could tell them that they're going to subscribe to reception, so we could add that user in. And stuff like that. If we go back to advanced, we've got external databases, so we could add Active Directory, and we could basically put some information in here, and we could get it to pull contacts from Active Directory, so it could it had some sort of address book. You can also use a system manager as well, so we could add you can add any of these: system manager, XML, web service, CSV. You can add any of these, but they do require licenses, so I'm not going to worry about this too much. It is all documented and you can sort it out, but this is just mainly to get the attendant working really basically. So we're all done with that. We can click on done, and what I'm going to do is I'm logged in. If I log out, or actually I don't need to log out, you'll see now because I've created a topic, I've got this topic here and I'm subscribed. So what I'm going to do from another machine I've got up and running, which is this one, and I'm going to try and minimize the window a little bit if I can. You see that I've got workplace here. So what we can do is we can dial reception, but it's not going to work. And the reason why it's not going to work is because there is a step that I've missed out purposely to show you what needs to be done. So if we go back to here and we go to Avaya Breeze, you'll see that we've got this implicit user profile, and we need to add one. We need to add one for our topic. So it's going to be workplace attendant, and the dial pattern is just going to be the number of the topic. So it'll be 8887 with a minimum of 4 and a maximum of 4, and we can add that in. We could also do the same with 8886 as well. We're not using 8886, but we could just add it in as an example. So if we open up the workplace attendant now and we go back to that server, what should happen now is that should ring.
Your call will be answered shortly.
And the reason it isn't ringing is because I'm still set to busy. So if we clear that cooldown, we go to available, and we open that server back up, what you'll see now is this will start to ring. And there we are. Gray Atkins is now ringing reception. We could answer that.
Your call.
I have a problem with my PC, so that's why it's not working. But that's essentially what would happen. And I don't know why this little thing keeps on flashing up. It might be a problem in the software, it might be a bug or something. But that is how you set up the Avaya Workplace Attendant. I know it's a bit of a quick video, guys, but hopefully it will give you a kind of a very small insight to how this works and what you need to do. Again, we could unsubscribe to the topic if we really wanted to, and then there wouldn't be anyone else who wouldn't be able to take calls. It's a bit like logging in and out of a hunt group. But those are the basics. I hope you enjoyed that video, and yeah, please give me the thumbs up. Leave a comment down below in the comment section, and if you didn't like the video, just leave me a comment and let me know why you didn't like it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel and you like my content, then please subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. We've just passed the 500 subscriber mark, so yep, I would really like to get another 500 subscribers, or as many as I can get. And yeah, just keep watching those videos, smash the hell out that like button, and stay tuned for more videos. So as always, guys, I'll see you in the next video.